Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I can't share a picture from my PC. Just says I could only share from share drive, Google Drive, SharePoint, and all.
Okay.
Welcome, welcome everyone. People are popping in. We want to give them everyone a moment to join before we begin.
Niet uitzetten, niet uitzetten. Join. You can.
We do invite you to let us know where you're coming from by renaming yourself. That would be awesome. That includes where you're from, like maybe the country you're from, because this is global. We have people from everywhere.
Yeah.
Or your city, whatever, however you want to identify. State.
Hi, Franklin.
Yeah, we still have folks joining.
I'm from Istanbul, Turkey.
Well, hello. Who was that? Who told me who said they were from Turkey? You said it so fast.
Yeah, we may want to show them how to rename by using those three ellipses at the top right of their picture or video screen, so they can rename themselves if they choose to.
Whoever's from Turkey, I definitely want to connect later.
Yeah, same here.
Yes.
Well,
So yeah, maybe in the chat to share where you're from or rename yourself, share where you're from as we are about to get started. We're just allowing people to join before we just hop on it real quick. All right. I am currently in Detroit, Michigan, in the States, in a treehouse. So, and it's a beautiful winter. You know, I think it's maybe when I checked last, it was I think it got up to 18 degrees, so that's good. Yeah, still 18. So it's warmer today. It's been like 16 for a week.
Wonderful. Are we just telling people where we're from?
Yeah, sure you're from, and then we're gonna begin. We're just giving people time to join.
Okay.
And
you can get like the lounge music going here.
Yeah.
Oh, ik sta ook op dingen dan uit je microfoon.
I
don't know if you can hear that at all.
Oh yeah, thank you, Ryan, for being our producer.
Yeah.
And it is YouTube friendly, so there's no copyright. It's all good.
Good.
Yes. Oh, we have Brazil in the house and Arizona we have people in the Netherlands. That's awesome. Welcome. Ghana. We have multiple people here from Ghana. My co-host, Elvin from Ghana.
I think I have two friends from Ghana. I know I probably know them personally, Manuel and Franklin. So it's good to have some friends over.
Yeah.
We will get every hand on board because.
Angela from Detroit. Hello, sister Detroiter. So.
Hello.
Welcome.
Got some more Midwest representation. That's great.
Mm-hmm. We have Florida woman too. She didn't say anything, but I'll just
there
call
she
her
is.
out.
There's Colleen.
Good day. I can't say afternoon or morning or evening because It could be any time.
Yeah, it's actually evening here.
I think that's
So-
why Jimmy Buffett's a genius. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? And he
Yep.
just left it at that.
Yeah.
Oh no, we have that's cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of amazing voices here today. We're so excited to talk with all of you. Hey, Tish.
Yeah, what's up with that? She just popped in. I haven't seen her or heard from her in a while.
I know. And her photo is just so, you know, I'm just saying.
What's up
your,
there?
your glamour shot photo.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm being bad. My apologies. All right. It looks like, we got a quorum. It's 5 after. We're going to begin. I'm going to invite, if you are a host or the panel, if you could stay on video for right now and unmute yourself. And we're going to ask our guests if you can come off video and mute yourself just for a little bit, because we will invite you to turn your videos on and have audio on, because we're going to open up for questions as we have this panel discussion. We're really excited to dig into human potential and like, how do we get there? You want to add something, Elvin?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a nice 1 hour, 30 minutes to actually find out how we can improve our human potentials with Agile. So, I think these wonderful panelists, their views, and probably take questions from everyone joining the call. So at the end of the day, it's just going to be more of sharing knowledge and helping each other be more Agile, So let's just enjoy it.
So we have panelists from all over the world, and we're going to invite them to introduce themselves. Maybe start with Hasmukh. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Good. So my name is Hasmukh Chudasama. I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya. And I don't know whether you can hear the rain in the background. There's a lot of rain right now in Nairobi.
Oh, that's rain?
Yes, sort of rain.
Nice.
Yeah. And I've been on the Agile journey for about 4.5 years now, which is not a very long time. I think there are lots of gurus out there. We've been in the industry for much longer period of time. And my area largely is the business agility side. I hear a lot of Agile, in the software industry. And I always challenge people and myself and my teams that say, look, we need to take this out organization-wide. And away from the software. That's I think where it's going to be very impactful. That's what I think. I'm happy to join this call, and I'm very excited to be part of the Agile Festival.
Thank you. So who do you want to call on next and your fellow panelists to introduce yourself?
I think he missed that.
Yeah, so I guess you're doing it.
Oh, I was gonna call on Grace. Well, my wonderful, playful toys. Hey, I'm Dr. Dave. I love music. I would like to say that I am aspiring servant leader. Even though I work in the Agile space, that's my focus. I work a lot with high school students, teaching them software, agility. I work with grown-ups like you all. We also coach and training that space. Yeah, I mean, I just love the community. Been around it for a very long time. I find myself being I call it old timer in the Agile space, but I really love, what we do. And that's why, on a Saturday, instead of being hiking, I'm here hanging out with you. My sister, April, invited me. So I'm really grateful to be here with you to have this discussion. And so I'm going to tag Grace to be next.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dave. It's really great to be here. My name is Grace Johnson, and I'm from Nigeria. I'm actually relatively new to Agile. I actually started my Agile journey in 2020. Prior, I'd been a project manager all my work life, doing housing and construction. And so I picked interest in Agile 2 years ago, but the lockdown gave me an opportunity to actually search more for knowledge, seek for more, do certifications, and in the process of trying to gain Agile knowledge and getting into the space, I stumbled on Agile Training Reflect, and I found myself on the trustee board. And currently I'm a World Ambassador Facilitator. So I'm still on the learning journey. Learning never ends. I'm also, I really want to hear you all today and learn from you all. Thank you for the opportunity to be on this panel. Thank you.
Who do you pick?
Ryan.
Oh,
There you
thank
go.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Ryan Ripley. I am a professional Scrum trainer with scrum.org. So I teach a lot of the classes that many people go to start their Agile journey in one way or another. I've been kicking around these ideas and trying to figure them out for the better part of the past 20 years. And I'm still struggling and learning and messing things up and occasionally getting a few things right. But yeah, the Agile, the potential of agility to improve the lives of others is so untapped but limitless. And I hope we're able to really dig into that today. And it's just an honor to be here. And so thank you to my fellow panelists and to April for including me in this. It's awesome. Such a great topic, and I can't wait to explore it.
Yeah.
Elvin, I guess I get to pick you, buddy.
Yeah. So I'm Elvin Assiam. I'm from Ghana, and I'll say I'm a compassionate agilist. I just want everything around me to be agile. It's just lovely to be agile, and coming from Africa and knowing that agile is not really popular as it is in other African countries, it really gives me a lot of desire and the zeal to try to push it here, because it's making a lot of progress out there. And it's bringing results and building good teams that can actually bring out good products. So why not have it in Africa as well? So I mean, it's one of these things that I got to know about Agile Training Reflect, and I met Grace and Hasmukh, who are from Nigeria and Kenya respectively. And I think we are both trying to fight our way to make Africa agile. So we're still on the journey, and we hope to make it much better than it is right now. So happy to have all of you here and to share experience and ideas. And so I get to pick April finally.
So April Jefferson, and I'm passionate about helping people unlock and unblock their potential. And it drives me, it inspires me, it encourages me, and keeps me going to figure out how can I contribute more. And that leads me to be a serial collaborator, serial organizer, frequent mentor. And I'm excited to be able to tap into that, because that's really at the heart of for me of what this conversation is about today. So let's dig in. Elvin, where are we going first?
Sure. So I mean, a lot of people would be we're all here to answer a couple of questions to know what agile the human potential is. And I got a question from a friend, like, I think the flyer is more about food and recipe, and like, are you guys going to talk about food and how to cook? I'm like, no, we're going to talk about how to make your life better, how to actually discover your potential with Agile. So my first question would be, what is human potential? If we are to talk about it clearly, what it is, what it actually is. And Dr. Dave, would you start off this by answering this question for us?
Well, thank you, Elvin. I mean, that's a tough question. What is human potential? I like to think in the role and how I show up with people is really helping them to achieve their level of awesomeness. So it's more of a journey for them, a discovery in terms of what they're capable of. You know, how can they learn? How can they really bring the best of who they are to the table, right? Because it's not about me teaching, about me enabling. And I see that a lot in high school students who are running our 5 Saturdays program, that we're working with 13 to 19-year-olds. And it's amazing that they know nothing about Agile, they know nothing about business, they know, it's foreign to them. And we have the ability to use this unique practice to come in and create space for where they could grow, where they feel that they're safe, right? I mean, it's a healing space as well that we create for them. To be able to participate in the conversation of being able to find their true potential. You know, there's nothing more exciting than you get a bunch of grown-ups together, and normally every summer about 20 of us get together. We get together and we take in 40, 60 different high school students, and at the end, you hear them presenting that, hey, we came up with a business idea, and you hear them like, we're using our Kanban board to do this. You know, and now, you know, we could work better together as a team. And I'm speaking to it from that place, because it's really unique to see untapped resources, untapped people, and untapped knowledge come to the forefront, where they're beginning to think about living life in an agile way, right? Making that as part of the core of who they are. So, you know, over the last 8 years, we've been able to get to see that manifest itself and become a reality. So tapping into true human potential, right? To me, it starts there, and it could even be earlier, but that's where the space that I like to play in, because I call it being at the deep end of the pool, right? You're at the very top of the diving board and you're about to jump in, you know, because that's what happens when you're done with high school, right? It's time for you to go to work. It's time for you to be a grown-up. So being in that space and helping those high school students and even the learning facilitators who are hanging out with us, right? Because we have industry professionals who participate in the process who know nothing about Agile, but over a 5 Saturdays period, over 5 Saturdays, they learn and they become, and I've seen people come out of our practice and that experience who are now coaches, trainers, you know, who are active in the Agile space. So, you know, I hope that gives a good context.
Yeah, it does. It actually does. So would you pick a tag, or we just going to pick the next speaker?
Okay, I'm gonna pick Ryan Ripley.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. It's hard to follow Dr. Dave. It's a really good description of human potential. You know, I think agility and human potential, it's just such a good mix. And you know, I think of, actually, I was with April in St. Louis a few years ago when we were actually able to go to conferences and hang out. And she actually demonstrated it. It's a moment where I felt a great amount of shame. And it actually highlighted just such what Agile can do. You know, we were walking from, I think there was this like metal monstrosity of a playground for adults, right? They had this thing welded together, and we'd spent some hours there, and but as a whole group. And April and myself and others were walking to dinner, and we walked by this homeless person. And this man is outside, and he's cold and he's hungry. And my eyes just, and to my own shame, I looked right past. And April stopped and she talked to this man, and she shared the gospel with him, and treated him like a human being. And I think gave some of our food that we had from previous, I mean, just treated this person like a human. And it was her Agile principles and her coaching and the mindset came forward. And in that moment, I realized this is what we should be doing, right? This is what we can be doing in our workplaces, in our lives, in our environments. And she had that mindset. And it was a moment where I had to pause and go, I am not addressing this optimal human side of it as much as I could be. In fact, I'm looking over those who need me the most. And it really forced this introspective journey. It's why I'm such a big fan of April. You know, she really forced me to reassess my character, but I think it's the Agile principles and practices and values that force us to do that. Like if you really take this stuff to heart and embrace it, you are going to find some good things, some bad things, some things you got to fix. And seeing people, Colleen in the chat just said she sees people. I think seeing people it's such a big piece of it. And I think that's the first step. And even servant leadership. If you think about the origination of servant leadership, Robert Greenleaf used Jesus Christ as the first example of servant leadership, the one who came and saw everybody. And if we're not, and you don't have to be a believer, but if you're not seeing everybody, how do you actually take that step to human potential and optimization, right? So I think that's what comes to mind the most. It's you've got to see people. I think actually you have to love your teammates in a caring sort of sense. You have to want them to be wildly successful, and you have to get everything out of their way that's stopping them. It's what Dr. Dave is doing for high school kids. I think, Grace and Elvin, everyone else, I think that's what we're all trying to do, but to actually bring it into your heart and live it and see everybody. I think that's where the secret is. Grace, how about you?
Tit for tat, right? I called you, you called me. Yeah. Wow. Like I had to ask Elvin a couple of times, what is the structure of this event? Well, what actually do you expect of me? And I think I got the answer today. This first question actually, it's hit me. We're just starting, but it hit me, and I think it's been me all my life. I ask myself a question daily, and that question is, why are people living below their potential? Why? It's been my pain over the years. I had a conversation today, and I don't know, I think it's destiny playing out. I had a conversation with Yusuf and Scott today about this same issue. And I believe Agile, just like Ryan said, is actually one of the answers. I wouldn't say the answer, but one of the answers to, tapping into the human potential. Like I said the other day again, the Agile Manifesto is actually a gift to the world because it takes out control and it allows people to be people. I love the fact that it emphasizes on respect. And at an event today, somebody said you cannot have respect without humility. Humility, me being humble to you, you being humble to me, is actually what facilitates and helps us bring out those potentials we have. If we don't have respect for each other, if we there's no way we can actually bring out the potential in people. I think that's the foundation of everything. Respect and taking out the control and encouraging people to be people. Yes. Thank you. April?
We haven't had Hasmukh share.
So, thank you. It's a tough act to follow from tough everybody. Yep. So look, I've been through some amazing sessions so far, but if I look at the context of today's call, what we're talking about, I've been fortunate the last 15 years or so. I've been leading teams in various businesses, and it's only recently I was thinking about it that I've heard a lot that control and command and control is dead. It's something I've done to one of the sessions, and it got me thinking that it is dead. The way the structures used to work 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, don't work anymore. And if I look back and what has been successful in my various businesses, or the various roles that I've played, is because I've been listening to people first. And I think that's the key thing. when we talk about human potential, that everybody has a voice, everybody has something to say. And when they come and sit at the table, if you listen to them, I think there's so much that we can learn, and that in return creates self-leadership. And then from there, we just have to follow, I think. That's what I've learned, that, as a leader, you need to follow people, and it's the command side of things has just disappeared. In terms of how, agile and human potential, I think it represents a whole mindset shift that if it is adopted, we take somebody from a place where they are very comfortable to a place which they don't know, but if they can achieve unimaginable happiness and success by just doing that. And I think that's something that I've also experienced. I don't know whether it's sort of coming through, but I think it's a journey, and it's an individual journey for everybody. I think that's what my view is on that.
So
Yep.
wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
All of you. Like, wow. So like you definitely articulated that human potential is real. And it's not something that definition of it. It's not a definition, it's really a story. And for that story to emerge around human potential, there's something there of that. There's something supporting it, for it to realize and to grow. And moreover, to get there, first you need to discover it. Could you share a little bit about how can we support discovering human potential and nurturing it?
So I can go first there.
Sure.
I think it goes back to what I mentioned initially. It's about listening. I think if you listen first, and when we say listen, I learned from one of my bosses that if you say, there are people who say, "How are you?" to anybody, but they don't listen to the response. It's just a way of starting a conversation or whatever. But that's what they say. No, that's not the way we want to do it. If you ask somebody, "How are you?" try and understand how is the person. Listen to them. See what they're talking about, and that's to me, that's the core. I like to spend a lot of time with university students, because I think those are the game changers for the world. People coming out of university, they see the world in a different way, and for them it's all about potential and about what they are going to do and what they're going to. When I sit with them, I just listen to them and see what they think, and it's mind blowing. To me, that's the critical skill of listening. I think it's something that I'm still learning how to listen better. That's real potential. Where everybody is saying something, and if you listen to them, I think it's about how can we be part of their journey, because it just enriches everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I can also add.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Coming out from university, I thought I knew exactly what I was called to do, how I was going to add value to the world, to myself, to my family, and I got a job instantly, and I found myself doing a lot for the company and all of that. I had so much potential, but it took me 5 years to really come around and start again, and really understand that really exhibiting my potential starts with asking the relevant questions. Why am I here? What am I called to do? where am I called to? So I think those 3 questions, it's for me, it's the foundation to, you know, unleashing the human potential. Yes.
You know, I wanted to add to everything, you know, those what the stories that we're sharing right now. So I just thought about 2019, the last time we probably were able to connect with each other as human beings in person is, and I'm going back to the 5 Saturdays program for a very specific reason. There, you know, I'll tell you a story about this young woman who showed up at our program in Costa Mesa, California. Her name is Annie Barnes. And Annie Barnes suffered from many different challenges in life. If you guys remember Stephen Hawkins, you know, the disease that he had, and he had this machine to speak. Annie had the same challenges, and she came to our program, and our program had never served anyone like that before. We've only served kids who were fully capable. Right. And the reason I bring this story is because, you know, this guy Ephraim and also John Jorgensen, also who stepped in and was able to, we were able to work and partner to figure out how do we unleash her human potential, you know, with someone that, you know, how do we teach her how to code? How do we teach her how to participate in the stand-up? How do we teach her how to communicate with everyone? How do we teach everyone else to work with her? To me, that was like just mind-blowing. And today, you know, sometimes it brings tears to my eyes when I think about Annie and where she is today and some of the conversation that she's had. We created a video about her and some of the stuff that she was doing. But to me, it's finding other ways. Is, you know, because when we're fully capable, it's a lot easier for us to get things done. But when we have challenges in our lives, physical challenges, mental challenges, even spiritual challenges, it's really difficult. And to me, that that experience will live with me for the rest of my life in terms of how do we unleash human potential. To me, that is a one image that would always rest with me. Annie coming into our workshops, and we just didn't know what to do. But because we are inspecting and adapting using these wonderful principles of agility, we were able to, like, hey, how do we help her? How do we modify some of the courses such that this could really serve her, right? And also, how do we get all of these other students who are there to actually participate as well and be champions for her, because we're helping them to learn how to lead. And Annie really benefit from that. And, you know, I'll share back that video with you guys at some point. I'll find it and share it with you. But, you know, it was just like, wow, to see all of the people who are serving those high school kids step in, and all the students, and serve Annie, right? Because it's about serving each other when we talk about unleashing human potential. I am going to pick on Elvin. I want to hear from you.
We're I think you mean
Yeah,
Brian.
You're the host, but we want to hear from you.
Sure. I mean, I was just thinking I'm just going to do a lot of asking questions, but it's really nice to also share my part of it. So basically, well, I actually heard about Agile, specifically Scrum in 2018, and it was really new to me. But with that very instance, when the training was over, because the training was done by 2 Dutch trainers, and the way the training was done was so different from how I'm taught in school, from whenever I started schooling to the university level as I was that time. It was so different. So I just realized that a lot can be done when you have the right techniques, when you have the right tools to, you know, let you understand something so simple. It was really foreign to me. Scrum was really new. I've never heard anything about Agile. And it wasn't just me, but previous years, the previous people who had done that same training had same experience. They had no experience, or no knowledge about Scrum. But after the training, it just hits you, and like, there's something really out there that I don't know. And it shows you where you can actually improve yourself. Like, you just realize you have a lot of potential you can actually achieve. but you don't have the right tools, you don't have the right people, you don't have the right mindset around you to actually achieve it. So for me, that would actually take me to the next question, but I would like to hear from Ryan. But I think for me, the human potential can be really achieved through Agile, and that's just my side of the story. But I'd like to hear from Ryan as well, and we can move on.
Yeah, I've enjoyed listening to these stories, and I think back through my career, and the potential that I had in my 20s is wildly different than it is today. I'm much older now. Things hurt a little bit more, and but I had a different mindset when I was younger. You know, I used to think that I've earned everything that I have, and it's just through my own hard work and my own abilities and me, and I finally got to a point to where I realized it's not just me, right? You know, there's depending on your worldview, I've been blessed far more than I deserve. I've had great mentors put in my path, right? And I've had people who have supported me, who created opportunities for me. Doors have been opened. And so I think part of this human potential is equal access to opportunity, right? Which we don't necessarily have in this world, in this country, and everywhere else. And so part of what I see now that I'm definitely middle-aged, I've finally come to terms with the fact that I'm kind of at a midpoint in my life. You know, it's not just about me anymore. It's really about how do we create equal opportunity for people? How do we step into the role of mentor to those who need to see their potential, even if they don't believe in it yet, right? How do we inspire people to say, hey, what you're doing right now, you could be that person on the stage, you know, relatively quickly. You could be that person writing the book. You have ideas that are important. And so how do we actually step into those roles as well, right? And within our community, I think there's an abundance of opportunity to help with opportunity, to help with mentorship, which I don't think is spoken about enough, right? We can all facilitate, we can all coach, we can all learn, but who's actually learning to be a great mentor and to actually take on that role? And to, you know, I think Dr. Dave is doing he's doing the Lord's work with these kids. He's doing great things, but how many of us really step into that mentorship role? And it's something that, you know, Todd and I, with our training practice, we've decided that we're not a transactional company, right? We're still working with students from years ago, trying to, and we're not, we don't charge. This is not a money thing. It's almost like a legacy thing. We had so many opportunities and benefits and privilege and all these things that if we're not stepping in and creating opportunity for others, if we're not stepping in and mentoring and trying to unleash those things that were unleashed for us because we didn't do it just on our own, I think we're kind of missing that opportunity of potential for everybody.
Wow.
This is really, I would say, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I really anticipated this to be really nice, but not this heart touching. So
Before we
April.
transition, I do want to piggyback on something Ryan said. And sometimes there's moments in my life that people have shared things with me where it could have been just a single word, and it had a great impact on how I hold space for myself or others. And Ryan is one of those persons, and I haven't shared that with him. There's a lot of people on this call today that I connected with them because of open space. That's one vehicle, I believe, that really helps people tap into their potential. And that's from how it's designed to create the breath for them to walk in freedom, but also with the connection of the people there. And Ryan was one of those voices who kind of spoke into me as well, and who saw something in me that I maybe didn't see in myself. It was quite scary. Colleen, who's on the call today as well, is like, okay, you know, like someone has said this multiple times, and it happened to multiple people, like where they're seeing things in us. and those are gifts. Those are micro gifts that you could speak into someone is just recognizing potential that they may not see yet. So
Yeah. Oh, okay. So before we move on, we're actually just going to dive into Agile. We've spoken about human potential, so we're trying to find ways we can fuse this together. But Scrum, sorry, with Ryan being a Scrum trainer with Scrum.org, well, this is going to be free, so we just like you to say something about what Agile is. There might be people here who are really new to what Agile is, so if you just touch it and we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah. So if I'm being asked to define Agile, I would say that it is. I think it is a series of 4 values and 12 principles that are designed to create environments for people to do their best possible work and to deliver some value along the way that people need, right? And so it's individuals and interactions are valued over processes and tools. We're trying to get to working product over comprehensive documentation. We want to respond to change instead of just following plans. And we want to collaborate with our customers instead of locking them into contracts and negotiations and all those things, right? And if we can do those 4 things, we can amplify the way that we work together through collaboration. We can actually measure ourselves based on the value and good that we put into the world instead of these scoreboard metrics. We can be a partner to people instead of trying to lock them in. And when the world changes on us, right, we can actually adapt and respond through just-in-time planning. And I think that's the way that I would define this idea of agility. And then there's frameworks like Scrum and Kanban, Crystal, Lean. I mean, there's all these different ways to bring these things forward, these great potential, this great potential of delivery forward, with each one being more appropriate depending on situations. But I mean, at the core, that's what I would say. Sure.
So then you can just start off answering the next question, which is, so how did you actually discover your potential, your human potential with Agile?
Is that back to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it just follows.
I don't know if so I think my goal, I don't know if I've discovered a potential. I'm not sure if that's something that's capped or if it's limitless, or I wake up every day grateful for the day, and I try to use the day that I've been given to be a better person, to love and honor, respect my God as much as I can, and to make the lives of those around me better. And if I can do that, I feel like I don't know a better way to reach a potential. You know, if I can put that into the world, and if someone tells me at the end when it's time for my judgment that I came up short, then I didn't know a better way. And so that's what I try to do.
Maybe we can have someone else, you know, who else wants to join in and kind of tap into how can we truly discover, how can we leverage agility to tap into our human potential?
You know, can I revise my answer real quick?
Yeah.
You know, if that's, I like the way that you phrased that. And I'll tell you what, my potential is directly correlated to how much I serve and help others reach theirs.
Yep.
Why don't I put it like that? So the more that I serve and help people reach their pinnacle, I think that defines my cap.
So Ron, I'm just going to add on, you know, well done, good and faithful servant, right?
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen to that, brother.
Oh, did you want to add on to that, Dave?
So how did Agile touch me and make who I am, or enable me to bring agility to others? Is that the question?
Yes, and.
Yes, and. Well, I mean, the way agility came to me was like about 2002. I found myself working at this company and someone tried to influence me to do Agile. And at the time I was a chief architect or will be an enterprise architect. And I go, hell no, we won't go. We're not changing. We're not doing that. That's stupid. What are you talking about? And so that was the mindset about 19 years ago, thinking in that way. But through the years, what I learned in that one experience was that we were able to serve each other in a way that I've never seen before, because we were like this very waterfall, I think 19 years ago was a waterfall space. And that was the first time I saw where a group of people, technical people, working with business partners and really serving each other. And so that really changed the lens of how I started to approach work, of how do we start, sharing and each other such that we could get the greater good done, right? Because, you go to work, you're paid to do something. And the fact is you really want to get to a space where everyone is providing value, right? And everyone feel like they are valued in the work that they're doing. So that journey started then. But a place where it really started to shift is that it started this whole concept about Agile for Humanity. I started, as I'm going to church, I'm working with a bunch of pastors about 2016. And the idea was, how do we use Agile with NGOs to start bringing humanitarian aid, to start bringing that value back to the world? And so in 2016, I started this whole Agile for Humanity concept and tried to see how I could work with churches and NGOs to start training them how to use Kanban and Scrum and those practices to bring more to the world. And then the other part that I wanted to get done with them is that how do we take this knowledge and bring it into other countries where they could start learning skills to do for themselves as well, so that they could have self-care and self-worth and start to build a value. So that's the journey that I've been on with agility, started a long time ago, but it has changed over time as I'm encountering different opportunities, different spaces to create value. And so, it's just, how do I become the greatest servant leader that I could potentially be? And it's through some of these efforts, high school, how do we reach out to community? How do we, especially in this time and age where we're like so pulled apart in terms of beliefs and culture and things like that. I think that agility has a great space, a great opportunity. The practices of it, some of the values, could to help us come together, right, and start to do things better, differently, things for each other, right? That's beneficial. So that is the mindset. That's where I am swimming upstream against, and that's what I love about it, Agile and the community that we're in, just to meet all of these beautiful faces and beautiful minds to work together. So who should I pick on?
We're
Grace?
we're actually gonna ask. I'm gonna ask Grace and Hasmukh a different question as we tap into like the last question before we open up to everyone else for their questions. My question for you, and you can choose which one answers first. Like, what might we see or hear if we are either walking in our potential or helping support others to do that?
So I'd like to answer that. Look, first is I like what Ryan was talking about. How do we learn to be mentors? I think that's a critical question. In Africa, statistics is more than 50% of the population is less than 25 years old. So it gives you an indication of the kind of potential that there is in Africa. And these are the kinds of conversations I think that can lead to sort of, very soul-searching discussions or, ideas where people will start thinking out of the box in terms of what can we do. I mean, I'm just thinking of 52 countries in Africa, how can we scale an agile mindset? And if you start doing that right, as I say, the young population is so huge. And the kind of impact we can make is massive. Yeah. It's a conversation that we have. I'll give you an example. If you start talking about agile project management in Kenya, it's not really taken off. Yeah, you talk to the largest organizations in Kenya, if they're doing agile project management, they'll talk about the buzzwords around it, but they're not really doing it. So it tells you there's a maturity gap. There's a big gap. And how do we bridge that gap? It's about having such sessions. My takeaway from a session like this would be, can we have a monthly session just for Africa, or maybe just in East Africa, invite Elvin into that session and that kind of thing. So the more people start talking about it, the more people will open up and say, these are my challenges, these are my problems, and I'm having this difficulty. And somebody else will say, oh, I've had those challenges and this is how I resolve them. And this is how I think the 2 + 2 can become 5. But it's about conversation, and this conversation needs to continue. I think that's key. Yep, Grace.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Hasmukh. Thank you, April. I always say a tree cannot make a forest, or a tree can make a forest after so many years. So my perspective is, if you want to go far, go alone. I also believe in trying to help others, discover their human potential. One way or another, you're also discovering yours.
Yep.
It's never a lose-lose situation when you try to help others become what they actually they're called to be. We are called to serve, and everybody here has emphasized that we have actually been called to serve. We're on this earth to serve each other in the spirit of Ubuntu. I am because you are. And so the human potential can only come to light when we are there to support each other. Where I stop, you begin, and where you begin, I stop. Yes, so we are called to, we are interwoven in one way or another. We are a community. We cannot succeed independent of the next person. Whether you like it or not, you can't provide everything for yourself. There's the taxi man, there is the delivery guy, there is a supermarket where you have to go get some things. You can't produce everything. And so we are all dependent on each other. And so if we have to fulfill potential, we have to work together. We have to serve. And that's why I like Agile. All my life, all my work life, I had been looking for a way to, even though I like project management, I never loved the controlling aspect of project management. And so in my quest to discover better ways of working, I did my thesis. I had this, I kept meditating on the word collaboration. I never knew about Agile. I kept meditating on the word collaboration. And so I decided to take it up in my master's thesis. And the topic was basically on how we could collaborate more to deliver social housing. And so I digged deep into the theory of collaboration, and I never knew I was actually trying to navigate towards Agile. I never knew about Agile. And so for us to succeed, we really need to collaborate. We really need to come together to serve. The mindset is to serve, not to, we are first serving before we first serve before we become leaders. And so that's my viewpoint. Don't go alone, go with others, lift others. Yeah. That's the way Africa will rise. We have too many strong men, individuals, when we come together, we'll build stronger institutions, and that can only be done by collaborating and serving each other. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would just like to add a few words to what Grace said. For me, what really keeps me going with Agile is the first manifesto, which says individuals and interactions of our processes and tools. So it's the individuals. What have you achieved for yourself? So if personally, I'm really good at training or coaching a particular Agile framework, then like that is me. If you're good in something else, that is you individually. And then it comes to the interactions. How do we interact? How do we collaborate? How do we share ideas? How do we work together to build something with the perfect tools and processes we have? So if this is lacking, then I don't think we are going anywhere. So for us to actually see that we are unleashing the human potential in us and in others, there has to be that collaboration. We have to be open to learning and growing together to learn from each other and take critiques, not in a bad way, but to work on it and see how we collaborate and interact with each other, which is really key. Because if the interaction and the collaboration is not really good, then we don't achieve anything. So we can take, for example, trying to form the panelists for this discussion. If there was no interaction or collaboration between us, I don't think this would have worked. But we're here sharing ideas and trying to learn together. So that's just a little bit I'd like to add to it before we move to taking questions from our wonderful audience. If April, you'd like to add anything, if not, then
No. I think I really want to open it up to see. We invite people to turn on their cameras. And turn on their audio, and want to open the floor for questions for our panelists. And then before we close, we also will have an open floor. If people have, maybe you have something else to add too. We want to give you the space for that. So is there anything else that you would like to tap in and ask to our panelists, to anyone or a particular person? Feel free to jump in and ask.
Yeah, if you have any questions or contributions to what we've discussed so far. Suresh, now you have your video enabled, so you can go ahead to ask your questions and whatever. We're just sharing ideas, so this is the time for everyone to add on to what.
No, actually, my apologies. I joined this meeting little late, so I was not aware that at the initial stage the panel speaks and then we will get opportunity to talk. So it's my bad. I would like to admit that. So my apologies again. So first question I have is for Hasmukh. I carefully listened to the entire session. I really am impressed by a lot of people and your thoughts here, especially Ryan and Hasmukh. So Hasmukh, my question for you is, you mentioned a lot about listening. So my question is, listening, do you mean to say, for example, if someone is suggesting any approach or any thought process, is it like listening in regards to applying that thought process carefully after validating? Or how would you like to a little bit dig deeper into that? I mean, how can we apply listening? Because a lot of people, they do pretend to listen. Oh, okay. And then they may not apply that approach. So can you dig a little bit deeper into that listening thing? It might be a basic question. I'm sorry, but I would like to dig that. Yeah.
No, I think it's a good question.
Yeah.
So when I talk about listening, I'm talking from personal experience. You would call it active listening, where even if it's a 5-minute session that I have with somebody, but I'm listening to what they're not only saying, but what they're trying to say, and what their thought process is. So there's the verbal cues to obviously the words that are being shared, but how it is being said, and what are they trying to achieve? And I think that's what I was trying to say, without judging whether it makes sense or whether it is right or wrong. I think that's the key thing. I've learned. In fact, I think I've learned it the hard way, that if you don't listen to, whether it is our superiors or our colleagues or our people who report to us, I think we are missing out on a golden opportunity. Sometimes that listening tells us a lot about what's really going on. And in that rush of activities, if you don't listen to that, sometimes we miss that opportunity. And then looking back, it's very, I would spot it and say, this person was trying to tell me something, and I did not pay attention to that. I think that's what I was trying to say. I hope that makes it clear.
Yeah.
I often try to ask myself, am I just hearing somebody or am I listening?
Exactly.
Because there's such a wide difference, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Just because I can hear you doesn't mean I listen to you at all. And I find that, at least for me, I have to, because my brain just doesn't stop, and that's not a good thing. And so as someone's talking, a question will pop in or a thought, and I just have to say, no, thank you. I literally have to, in my mind, go, no, thank you. And just let the question or the thought drift away, and then put focus back on the person. And this is such an important skill. And I don't think we teach this enough. I don't think we work on this enough. People just presume that you have 2 ears and you can hear and you know how to listen. And that's just not the case, right? So hopefully some of that helps. And I think, Hasmukh, that's great advice. And it, and Dr. Dave's got some good stuff up there too. It's something that I still have to work on because my mouth works a lot faster than my ears in most cases.
Definitely beautiful. I've found that sometimes with listening, you may not have to say anything. That even as a coach, that I have had many instances where I only needed to listen. As a facilitator and trainer, I only needed to listen. And they discovered through their own conversation what they needed. So
and sorry, April, but I think if you listen more as a coach or a mentor, then you're able to ask the right questions to wherever you are helping, and they can be able to discover their own answers within. So listening, like Ryan said, is just not all about, well, I'm here for you, I hear what you're saying, but it has to be, I hear you and I can repeat to you whatever you said to me. Then that becomes listening for me. Yeah.
So we have a question in the chat from, is it Olafuk? I don't know if I butchered that, but correct me if I did. And that question. And that question is for you, Grace, since you could pronounce their name so well. When Grace spoke a collaboration idea of that aiding and building of strong institutions, the concept of mistrust of leadership, especially on the African continent, comes to mind. How, in your opinion, can this challenge of lack of trust be surmounted, thus fostering collaboration?
Wow. I think we have to start from the bottom to the top. We've for so long depended on strong men to lead and direct, and the top approach has actually it's not working. And so there's something I've started doing quite recently. I think I used to do it back in high school. We call it secondary school. I have this group of friends that are like-minded, and we had sat at some. We sit to discuss from time to time. And as young as we were, we bounded ourselves by an oath, not an oath, let me, and that's to continuously improve, not to be corrupt, to be the best at what we do, and make sure we go to the university and graduate and be something in life. That was the oath we banded ourselves with, and unfortunately 2 of them are dead now, but I still look back, and that foundation actually helped me. That little gathering helped me, I always look back while in the university, and each time you see your peers doing something that may derail you, I kind of reference back to that. And so what I'm trying to say is, we start from the bottom. Who around you, who in your community, in your office and your workplace, who are those people you can bring together to begin to form communities? I think it's time for us to begin to form communities. Yes, if I believe in the multiplier effect. If within an area you have 5 people come together and they're have discussions around probably the power sector. How can we make it better within ourselves? How can we invest in these areas? How do we how do we tap into this, take advantage of this problem and make it better? Make it better for our people. So the answer is in communities. You cannot collaborate individually, but when you begin to form communities of like-minded people with a goal, that is where the change starts. The top-bottom approach has actually not worked, and so we need to start from the bottom. It's going to take it's a process. Change won't happen overnight, and so we really need to start building. If it means start building from our families and making sure our children are able to collaborate, making sure they're able to bind themselves by the oath of being the best they can be, and holding themselves to integrity, having integrity, and doing the right things and not being corrupt. I think that's the starting point. Thank you.
Did anybody else on our panel wanted to add something else? If they had anything else or something different?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm Nisa from Turkey, but officially living in the Netherlands. I want to know how I, as a young adult, can enhance my abilities to work and serve to do good for humanity. I can give my mind, for example, to a teacher, but I would still be addressed as a minor with no skills. Well, I can see where things go wrong.
Somebody on our panel want to take that?
Hey, Amira, I would love to recruit you to be an ambassador for the 5 Saturdays program, as we're attempting to expand out beyond the United States. I could drop my email in the chat for everyone. I would love, if you want to step into that and learn how to really run a cohort that you could bring like-minded people together and really teach them, right? What agility is, right? Teach them actually tangible skills. And so we have a lot of curriculum that's available, and it's free. This is stuff that I've built over the years, and it's free that people could use. And you could be, that person who helps to bring about change in your space, right? So I would be happy to drop my email in there, and you can reach out. But yeah, I'm just passing that on as a short statement. So.
Did anybody else want to help her out?
My email is in the chat, drdave@5saturdays.org.
Okay, thank you.
I think the other thing that that we can do is really share our experiences. I think life is a series of experiences, and even though you may feel like you may not have influence or abilities or whatever it is that you're kind of concerned about at this point, I have found that sharing experiences through podcasts and blogs and panel discussions like this, you have no idea who's listening and watching. Even if you just one tweet every day about something that made you cry or that inspired you or that moved you, and watch how many people start following and seeing that. And you have no idea who across the world you influence. And as you build up these different communication skills and you make different connections, and over time that grows into influence and that grows into opportunity. And I think it's really just starting where you're at, right? Instead of this mindset of I'm defeated, I can't do anything, I'm only considered to be a minor. Let's start where you are, and let's do something, and let's see how that thing goes. And if it doesn't go how we thought, let's try something different. And if that doesn't go how we want it to, we try something. It's inspection and adaptation and trying different things and experimenting. You're a powerful person, and you're fully capable of helping others. And if you believe those two things, the next step could be easy, right? And so you start where you're at, build the influence, and try a lot of different things, right?
Yeah. I think where you find yourself right now, well, I still find myself there, but I think I'm moving from there, because I would say before I met Grace and Hasmukh and Agile 20 Reflects, I thought I was the only Scrum trainer or an Agilist in Africa. But there are a lot more out there. There are a lot of people. So it's all about making the right connections. You don't have to be afraid. You have to have a lot of courage to reach out to ask for help, like you're doing right now. Ask for mentors, ask for coaches. Of course, people are going to turn you down, but there are a lot of good people like April, Dr. Dave, Ryan, Grace, Hasmukh. There are a lot of people who are going to, who are willing to help you. There are a lot of people out there who take money from you before they help you. And there are a lot of other people who would actually help you for free. So I think you have to have the courage to ask for help. You have to be open to learn and grow. Ask for all the resources you need, like Dr. Dave is giving for free right now. Obviously, people are going to take a lot of money for it. I'm going to emphasize on that, because I had a lot of people asking me for money. I have nothing. All I have is myself, and I just want to improve, so that shouldn't stop you from where you are. And that's the little advice I'll give you. Just don't be afraid. Try to connect with the right people and ask for help as much as you can. There are a lot of people who will help you. There are a lot of people who will not help you. So you just have to keep going.
Thank you all, Dr. Dave. I will send my email.
Sure.
Yeah. Is there any other questions? Does somebody have something different?
Hi, April, Seth.
Sure.
Just that last point, Elvin. Sorry. Last point Elvin made there. For me, so when I've been kind of coaching or mentoring people, I think one of the things we have to remind people is they have to hold themselves accountable.
Yeah.
So they have to kind of take control of their learning and do whatever they can to understand themselves. So the self-awareness piece is really important. And I think the more time you spend on that, the better you become at understanding yourself, the better placed you are to really fulfill your potential.
Yeah.
So I'm just opening that up to all the panel really for a thought or a response.
Great. April, do you want to add something?
I want to see if my panelists, I want to offer it to them first, always.
Yeah.
As the host.
Well, I think in that vein, there's a book that really kind of woke me up to that idea of kind of self-ownership and accountability. And it's Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. I think it's an important book. It teaches us to be as powerful as we can in the moment, and to make decisions in the moment, and to own moments. And I think that's an important one to read. I think it's a good one for coaches and agilists to really embrace, and it's something that we teach in leadership courses. And yeah, I think it's definitely a point well taken.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'll just move into a different question, but just finish off with this.
No, go ahead to your other question. That's okay.
I'd really love to hear what you're about to say.
I was just going to talk about just a simple book that was very instrumental in my life in terms of about accountability, and it's called A Purpose-Driven Life, and it's written by Rick Warren.
It's
And
really
you don't
good.
have to be a Christian
It's excellent
to really get value out of that book, but The Purpose-Driven Life really helped to articulate why I'm here, what is my purpose, how do I serve. And I think that reading that book, you know, seriously just changed who I am as a human being. You know, just read it with the lens, with a different lens, as opposed to, oh, this is about Christianity. Read it from the lens about the purpose that you're here on this earth. And that walks you into the context of, you know, how do I be more accountable for who I am? And really be aware of my intent, the impact of my intent as a human being on other people. And I think it's really a powerful thing that I've learned from reading that book. So just check it out if you get a chance to, and do it with open mind. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, thanks. Thanks for sharing with us. And so this question is from Colleen here. She's asking if she said humans tend to gravitate towards like-minded groups, right? And so her question is, how can we tap into the potential of those who think much differently from us?
You know, something that, as I think I mentioned, I'm kind of embracing the fact that I'm kind of getting to that middle part of my life. Something that I've started to embrace more is the possibility or the potential that I am wrong. And that's not been an easy thing to do, because I like being right. And that's it's a tricky thing, right? But I find that I'm not going to fix other people. And if people disagree with me, that's great. And I'm over all of that stuff. But really digging into the fact that the beliefs that I hold today could be incorrect has been really pivotal in this regard. And so that leads me to be curious, and it drives me to look at multiple viewpoints. And so I look at news from across the spectrum, and I read books by people that the software estimation book by, who is that? What is this gentleman's name? It's eluding me right now. I am completely against planning everything up front, but I've read a number of his books, and there's some good stuff in there. And it's Stephen, is it McConnell? Something like that. And but I pulled good things from it, and I realized my biases and preconceptions and all that were wrong. And so I think just sitting back and realizing a lot of the things we believe are just incorrect, I think is like step one. And then we go out and we try to figure out, now, if it's incorrect, how could I fill that gap, and staying in that curious space. And it took me a while to get there. Like I said, I think when I think about the Scrum values, I don't want to pull it into a training or anything, but the value of openness, I think, actually means being open to the idea that you're wrong, or that someone has a better idea. And I think if we get there, it unlocks a lot of potential to see other resources and other people not as competing ideas, but as value adding. If that makes sense.
Yes. Does someone have something else to add to Colleen's question? Thank you, Hasmukh.
There, I always believe in one thing, that if you're sitting in a room with 5 people and all 5 of you are in agreement about certain things, there's a problem. There has to be some disagreement, because that's where somebody starts challenging your thinking, and that's where I think the growth is. So it's important to find people who will constantly challenge us. That's sometimes it's not easy to do, but I think that's where the growth is. So we have to actively look for those experiences, I think. Just to add on to that.
Thank you. Is there a final question before we open it up for our panelists for final thoughts? All right.
It's not a question, it's just a comment from me. I
Yes.
am sitting back with my mic off, just taking all of this in. And you guys have shared so many nuggets, as my aunt called when she shared her knowledge. My older aunt, she's like 70 plus, and she sits us down and gives us these nuggets of knowledge for us to take in and process. We don't have to answer her back, but just to know that we're listening and we're absorbing it. And someone who's new to the agile, going the agile way, as they say, I'm enjoying it. And thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Is there any other final thoughts from our guests before we, open up to our panelists?
I would like to appreciate April for including me in this group. I'm really fortunate to be part of this session, and of course would continue joining this. A lot of good takeaways, so appreciate it.
Dr. Dave, I want to thank you for posting that link. That's really what I'm struggling with, and that's really why I posed the question that I posed. So thank you. If you haven't read the link that he just put out there, it's pretty powerful. Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. I think I'm the youngest girl here. I'm only 18 years old, but I really enjoyed it.
Oh, we're glad we could have you. Yeah. Okay, so April, are we moving on to our panelists for their final thoughts?
Yeah, unless anyone else had another comment, we want to give you the space.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hello,
Hi.
Letitia from Boston. Hello. So many new faces, so many old faces, or friendly faces, I'll say. I just want to encourage all the folks who are new on their Agile journey, just keep checking in to the spaces, because that's where you'll continually find your compass, and know that you're on the right path. Even if others that you might surround yourself with have no idea what you're talking about, keep checking in, keep connected to each other and to the groups globally, because now there's nothing separating us with technology. So yeah. I encourage you, it's a journey, but you have a ton of support. So keep connected.
All right. So if I was in a physical space, I would say, oh, go to your LinkedIn apps, and everyone can, if they want to follow people, like, do it now. We don't have that, so I would say go ahead. You can definitely, if you want to connect with people here, put your link in the chat or anything else that is of value as we open it up to our panel for final thoughts. And you can freely go as you wish when you're ready to speak.
Yep, so thanks for this session. I think I enjoyed it very much. And as I said at some point, very passionate about the change we can bring to Africa. So I think those are some of the stuff that we talked about. I think it's very key that, we post the festival, in fact, even that there are takeaways that we're going to continue doing certain things and have an agenda of what we're going to do to really drive it to the grassroots level on the Agile journey for everybody. That's my takeaway. Thanks.
Dr. Dave or Grace or Ryan?
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's wonderful getting to know my fellow panelists. I actually hope we all have a chance to speak again. I actually had the privilege of visiting South Africa a number of years ago and worked with the Agile community there. And we actually spoke about some of the communities in Ghana and some of the other countries. And your potential is just limitless. Like there is just so much youth and motivation and energy just all over the place. And it's to see that, to change and grow and to really manifest into something is just awesome. And so I hope we stay connected. I hope we're able to, if there's any way I can support that, please let me know. Because I think it is just such an amazing space and opportunity. But I think, maximizing the potential of people globally, I think even in the United States, we could use a little bit of the love that Dr. Dave shared on his post and, getting people, for us to think that the United States is any more united right now is crazy. And so we've got a lot of work to do here. And I think but I think agility, especially transparency, gets us there. And so as we embrace the Agile practices and we learn how to talk to each other at a human level, not at a political level or at some kind of trying to win the conversation, as we embrace these practices and these skills, we really internalize them, I think lives get better globally. And so that's where my heart and my mind is currently at. And I hope it stays there for the rest of my career. And it's just a huge privilege to be able to share these ideas with great hosts such as April and Elvin and fellow panelists. It's been an awesome couple of hours, and just thank you so much for letting me do this.
We're glad you could make it. I mean, April and I just met we've known each other for just a few months, and well, I just reached out to him. I'm like, you know what? I just need a coach right now. I'm like an island in Africa. I mean, in Ghana, trying to connect with Agile coaches, and nothing actually pops up. And I met Grace. We had a phone call some time back, and it was really awesome. She really encouraged me to do like a lot more. I was really gingered to, not give up and do more. And I met Ryan. So I was reading on the internet, something about Agile for Humans. And I happened to meet or to see podcasts that Ryan has. So that's Agile for Humans. And
great.
I was like, how did you come up with this name? Because this is what I've been looking for. And then I met April. I spoke to April, and April told me, well, Dr. Dave has a similar name that is Agile for Humanity. I'm like, wait, we need these guys in this. I mean, having these two people, it's like we're just conquering the world to talk about what we actually want to talk about. And having the conversation with April the other night was really great. I'm like, Hasmukh already reached out to have a conversation. I pitched my topic to him. I was like, you know what, let's just do it. So I just told April, instead of having just two people to do this, why not have it's like a conversation with these wonderful people to share ideas, to help each other out, to see what this actually leads us. And this can just be the start of something great for everyone, for Africans, for Americans, for Indians, for everyone. So this is, I'd really be happy if this is just the start of something great for all of us. So I'll say, let's just keep going. And I thank all of you for making it. And I'm really happy you all accepted to be on this to, help learn together and grow together. Yeah. And thank you so much, April.
Yeah. And we have a couple minutes left, and I'll try to leave on time, and Elvin and I will stay afterwards for people who just want to chat. But I want to make sure that we give Grace and Dr. Dave to say a final thought.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give Grace first. I'll let Grace go first. I'm sorry. Ladies first.
Well, it's been an honor being on this panel. Seriously, I got to know April, just like Elvin, just while preparing for the festival, and I started following her on Twitter. Well, her posts were really speaking to me at that time because I needed a lot of focus, and she kept hammering on focus, 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 and I'm like, this is no mistake. She's thank you, April. Yeah, you helped me really a great deal. And it's really been an insightful discussion here. It's the humanity of everything we do is actually core to me. It's everything for me. It's everything, unleashing human potentials. Every day I ask myself, how can people have so much but exhibit so little? And listening to all of you, to Dr. Dave, I've just been spamming all of your pages, and I'm trying to know more about you all. And it's really been, it's what you're doing is mind blowing. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, April. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Hasmukh. Thank you, Elvin. Thank you for really rallying Africa to the festival. I am eternally grateful to you all. I've really learned a lot this evening. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, and April is working every day to get things working. So if we are doing this, she's actually the motor behind the vehicle.
Which is just really awesome. So I'm not going to take much time because I want us to end on time, right? I know, and I'll hang out a few after as well. But I'd just like to say thank you for having me here. Really honored. Good to be with Ryan. We've never spoken before, and we have similar, thought patterns. And I look forward to us having a chance to connect this thing with Elvin and Grace and Hasmukh. I see April quite frequently. So I just wanted, the thought that I wanted to say is that I could love you even though I don't agree with you. And that's what I want to leave us with. I could love you even though I don't agree with you. And it has prompted me to write that piece for my February thing, and hello, I love you, because I think it's not just about the emotions, but can I be patient and kind with you as a human being? Yeah. It can be if I choose to be. So that's the thought that I want to leave you with. I could love you even though I don't agree with you. And I think if we could get to that space, that is a place of power that we could use to continually move us forward, to help us connect, right? To help us connect deeply.
Thank you, Dr. Dave.
And I do a shameless plug for Agile for Humanity, our conference that's coming up. April and I are involved in a conference next week, Friday and Saturday. I posted the link there. I would love to see you all attend. If not, ping me. We want to have any type of boundaries for people to attend, no restrictions. So if we need to fire up some scholarships, just ping me. I'll be happy to do that. But we could continue that conversation on Friday and Saturday next week. There's opportunities to do that. So look forward to seeing you guys, and want to hang out with this panel again. Sorry, April, giving you back 2 minutes. Sorry.
That's okay. I am closing. We are a couple minutes over, so thank you for giving us that extra couple of minutes. My final thought is that listening grows empathy, and empathy grows curiosity, and curious people can unlock their potential. So let's continue the journey. Thank you for spending a part of your day, or it could be evening, morning, night, don't know, depending on where you are, with us. I will post this on the Agile Reflect hashtag in their page, this video, for people who are antsy to listen again.
Yeah.
So thank you. And that ends our time here, but you're welcome to stay and hang out a little bit longer.
Yeah, we appreciate Kolos, but if you want to say anything or just add anything, you're free to do that. But
thanks, everyone.
Yeah.